Hi there. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Joshua here. You might know me as Mr. Everything Man. That's what this channel's called as of right now. And yeah, it's let's see, it's 10:56 p.m. So, much earlier than I've done in the past. 10:56 p.m. on Monday, February 7th, 2022. And here I am. Current temperature is, check real quick. You know, if this is crucial information, you'd think I'd look it up before we start, right? Okay, 58 degrees. So not the coldest it's ever been, but, you know, it's decent. There's no mosquitoes, at least. That's what matters. Um, yeah. So you probably have a few questions right off the bat. First of all, I'm very obviously in a car. Yes, this is my car. That's why I'm in the driver's seat here. Um, I got the sunroof open. I got the windows open. So it's an open air experience because I would consider it cheating if I was in an enclosed room, even if it is cold outside. It would not be a cold night chats because, as I said in my inaugural episode, like what, 3 years ago by now, um, the whole significance of cold weather and philosophy discussions and all of that is because the cold air itself, like breathing it in my nostrils, just like gets the gears turning in my brain like a very specific way that only that can do. And you know, I only get, it has to be nighttime and it has to be outside cool air, like anything below 70 really, but below 60 is better, you know. And down to, I don't think there's a bottom. I just think it's everything below that, because even when it's been like below freezing, it's like it's even better. Um, but yeah, so that's the whole reason, is that I have to be breathing in the air itself. So I would consider it cheating if I was in an enclosed room in an indoor environment. But so I'm in my car, yes, but I have all the air flooding in. So I'm basically outside. It's just either this or sit on the street or the sidewalk or the driveway, and I just would rather not do that because, you know, of the neighborhood, I just don't want, you know, security or anything asking me, "What are you doing?" You know. But if I'm sitting in my car, it's a lot less suspicious because a lot of people sit in their cars, you know? So, and like they can't really do anything. I'm sitting in a parked car. I'm not like being really loud or like, you know, doing anything weird, you know. So, but anyway, so yeah, so that's I just want to clear the air on that. But also, you're probably wondering, why am I in the car and not, you know, in my room with the window open, or in the screen room, or the backyard, or, you know, any other environment like that, right? Okay, well, first of all, the window is broken in my room, and it's been since I moved into this place 3 months ago. So, and the landlord never fixed it, and I just don't have the energy to keep pursuing that. So, oh well, the window doesn't work. So, yeah, I can't do that. And then as for the screen room, I've been out there a few times since I've lived here, only when my roommate's not home, because when he is home, he puts the house alarm on. And obviously, when the house alarm's on, you can't open any doors, like the door to the screen room or anything, or else, you know, the alarm goes off and it's just a real hassle to deal with. And so, you know, whenever I come home at night, which is the vast majority of the time, like right now, for example, you know, I'm gonna have to disarm the alarm as soon as I go in, because it starts a 30-second countdown as soon as I open the door, and I have to enter the passcode and disarm it, and then immediately rearm it, and then lock the door and all that. So I just, it's just not worth it to go out to the screen room for what this, like, I'll just do it in my car, you know? So I'm parked outside the house. I just, we park on the street here. The landlord gets the driveway, and well, he parks in the garage actually. But if I were to park in the driveway, it would block his car in the garage. It'd be really difficult to get around because it's like, it looks like it's wide, but it's not quite wide enough for two cars, so he couldn't really go around me. And there's like trees on both sides, like right up against the driveway, so there's no like room there, so it's crazy. So I just park on the street, because that's what's easiest. But yeah, so yeah, that's why, that's the reasoning for the location here. So since there's like street lights and stuff, you can actually see a little bit. I would get out and walk around, but they got security here because it's a private community and stuff. And I mean, I had security where I used to live in Port St. Lucie too, but they didn't really care. But here they're like all, they come out with like a notepad and a pen, and they're like writing down the license plates of all the cars that are parked and stuff. And like, it's just, I don't want to argue with anyone, I don't want to have to explain anything to anyone. Like, security comes by and like they got nothing better to do at this time of night, so they'll stop me if I'm walking around, recording stuff and be like, hey, what are you doing? And like, even though it's not illegal or against the rules or anything, they could still just give me a hard time about it, and just be like, what are you doing out at 2 a.m, like, or, even though I'm an adult and stuff, it's just, I don't know. I just don't need that, But I'm in my own car, parked in front of the house that I'm living in, so I think that that's okay. But chances are, I mean, while I'm filming this, you'll probably see security pass by. I mean, they have like straight up police come in here, so. But yeah. Also, I don't want to like get lost or anything, or because sometimes if I'm like really deep into talking, I get distracted and I don't always pay attention to where I'm going, and I don't want to walk in a straight line away from the house either, because then when I'm done, I'll have to walk all the way back. So at least now I can stop anytime and just go right into the house. Wow, it's been 8 minutes and I've talked about absolutely nothing. See, I was worried. I dreaded making this for the most part just because I didn't know what I was going to say. I was just worried that as soon as I started recording, I would just, like, stall out. And I actually did try over the past 3 months. I tried, I believe, 6 times now to make a Cold Night Chats episode, and either I would fall asleep, or I would be incoherent, or I would just not know what to say. This could be security. I'm not sure. They drive unmarked cars. But anyway, so, but I think this time, in the words of Dr. Bruce Banner from the original Incredible Hulk coaster at Islands of Adventure before the remodeling, I think this time it's going to work. So, oh man, so that means the last one of these that was uploaded was from November. Oh, wait a minute. Was it like November 1st? It might have been like around Halloween, actually. Yeah, I was still living in Port St. Lucie. I was still working in fast food. I'll just go ahead and say it. I was working at the Turnpike Service Plaza. Of course, I put on my resume that I was the Director of Food and Beverage Operations for the Florida Department of Transportation, which, is a fictional position. That's not an actual job title. But I looked into the legality of it, and the only way that I can get in trouble is if I claimed to be an actual job title that exists that I wasn't. Like if I said that I was the CEO of Wendy's, or that I was the, executive director of the Turnpike or something, like I can get in trouble for that. But since there is no actual director of food and beverage operations for the Florida Department of Transportation, I'm not impersonating anybody. I'm not claiming to be anyone that I'm not. You know what I mean? So that's how I was able to get away with that. But, they never looked into that, when they hired me at Universal. I'm sure they just saw that and they were like, oh, nice, cool. But yeah, I was a cashier at the Wendy's. But obviously I didn't want to put that on the resume. But so it's technically true because the Turnpike Service Plaza is owned by the Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT. And so, because they own the Turnpike, and the Service Plaza is in the Turnpike. And the Service Plaza has, a gas station and, bathrooms and, a gift shop and all that. And they also have a food court. And that's where I worked. So, and I worked at all of the restaurants in the food court at least once. But I worked at Wendy's the most, like 90% of the time. So that was kind of my thing. But yeah, so I was still doing that at the time. I know that in my last one, I had put in my 2 weeks notice, and I had decided that I was moving to Orlando. But man, I'm not even sure if I decided on a place at that point. I was really taking a chance. All right, so that means there's a lot to catch up on. Like 3.5 months. Wow. Okay, well, let's go month by month. November. See, here we go. This has to be freeform. I think that's what I've decided, because whenever I try to itemize it, then this happens. It's too much. It's like, okay, I got to talk about November, and then I got to talk about December, and then I got to talk about January. It's like my brain doesn't always work that way. Sometimes I just want to just talk, just like hello, greetings, and salutations, or randomness, the audio show. Sometimes you just kind of need to not really have a format or a script, So I might not be able to sufficiently recap everything, to fill in the blanks from the last one of these to now. Really, the only thing that I can guarantee is to just say whatever's on my mind right now, and just talk about whatever my thoughts are at this moment. And so each installment of this, I guess, should really just be, capturing that moment in time. It should have its own aesthetic and just be like, well, you know what I mean? Like, instead of forcing a narrative and forcing it to be, that's kind of what it was starting to become. It's just like, okay, so last time on Cold Night Chats, this week we're going to talk about this and that, and we're going to talk about what happened yesterday and what happened. I mean, if it's significant if it's relevant to what's on my mind right now, then yeah, I would say go ahead. But otherwise, if it's just for the sake of telling the story or padding out the time or a sense of obligation that I need to, like, fill everybody in on what's going on, with their favorite YouTube celebrity, whatever kind of conceited, thought process I had for it, that's just, I don't know. I just don't, I'm not feeling that right now. So maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll go back to that. Who knows? Maybe the next time that'll just get thrown out the window and I'll just be like, yeah, no, it's all about me and, my life, and everything's super important and everybody cares. Everybody's just hanging at the edge of their seat waiting to find out what I ate for breakfast today. Or what happened on my way to work, or whatever, like just these mundane things. Now, in all fairness, the last 3 months, I mean, my life since moving to Orlando has been anything but boring. So, if ever there was a time to give a recap, it would be now. But the problem is just that now it's been so long, I can't recap, 13 weeks. Yeah, it would just be exhausting. It would take hours, and then I wouldn't even talk about the present. It would only ever be the past 13 weeks. And then the only other way to do it would be to break it up into multiple episodes. And, I don't want to do that because, first of all, I don't even have a regular upload schedule. I can't even say I'm going to do another one tomorrow or whatever. I mean, yeah, first of all, it's dependent on the weather, but then also, I don't even have a free moment most days. And then when I do, I don't always feel like it. And then when I try, it doesn't even always work. So I can't even guarantee. It could take me months to do the recap, and then by then I'll need another recap because it'll be months later. And that'll just become all that this is, and I'll never talk about what was on my mind any of those individual times. You know what I mean? So, yeah, my apologies if you were hoping for a recap. That was my original intention, actually, before starting this. And then I just am kind of deciding on the spot not to do that, because I tried to. I was like, all right, so let's see, November. And then it's just like, oh, man, I don't want to. That'll take too long, so. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, let's just talk about something. What did I do today? How about that? That's a good icebreaker. So you can get a sample of a day in my life. Well, I woke up to my alarm at 7:30 this morning and sprung right out of bed and immediately poured myself a cup of coffee, drank it, took a dump, got changed into my work clothes, got my bag ready with my change of clothes and my work accessories and all that stuff. Put on some deodorant, combed my hair, stuff like that. Got ready for work. I put on my shoes. I set the house alarm. I had to disarm it to open the door and then rearm it to, after I was leaving, it gives a 60-second countdown, so that, you have time to, open the door and stuff, and then lock the door. And then I walked to my car. I set the bag on, the bag containing my change of clothes and work accessories and all that stuff, on the passenger seat. And then I got in, started the car, put the sunroof and the windows down, put my seatbelt on, and drove to work. And then I parked in the parking lot, and turned the car off, rolled the windows up, all that stuff. Changed my shoes into my work shoes, and then I took my bag and walked with it through security, and then past the bus stop. There wasn't a bus, so I had to walk. It was about a 15-minute walk. And then I walked all the way. I had to run at the very end because I didn't want to be late. And then I clocked in. Then I had to cool down in the freezer for a few minutes because I worked up a sweat with the running and the brisk walking and all that. And I went to the bathroom, peed, got, like put on my belt and my hat and mask and name tag and, all that stuff, my accessories. Went into the office, looked at the schedule, saw what I was supposed to do, where I was supposed to go. And then I worked my shift. I worked a full 8-hour shift. And then I clocked out, got changed, went on a couple rides. I went on Dr. Doom and the Hulk. And then I left. I headed back. I actually caught the bus on the way back. And then I walked out through security again and then back to my car. Changed my shoes again. And got in the car, closed the door, put my seatbelt on, started the car, put the sunroof down and the windows down, and then drove home. I went right home today. And then, got changed, washed up. Went in my room. Some kratom and some Faygo, some white kratom with some orange Faygo, I believe is the orange flavor, and a little courtesy cup. It's like 6 ounces or whatever. And then I ate some chips, watched some YouTube videos, some other videos, and gave my own form of applause to those other videos, if you know what I mean. Not, not with my hands though. Well, I mean, kind of indirectly with my hands. And then I made myself a sandwich, and then I ate the sandwich, and then I felt inspired to work out, so I put some clothes on, and got my car keys and my sweat towel and my Bluetooth speaker and my water thermos and my phone, and did the same thing with the alarm and the door and all that. Came out to the car, got in, and drove to the gym. Planet Fitness is where I work out. It's 5 minutes away. Went there, did a killer workout, drove back, and here I am. That was my day so far. When I get back in there, I predict... I had a protein shake on my way to the gym. And I'm going to have another one when I get inside, because that was the last one I had in my car. The rest are in the house. So I'll have another one when I get in there. Probably have a little snack to eat. I'm not exactly sure what. I don't plan these things. I kind of just eat whatever I see. Take my multivitamins, because I don't take those in the morning because I don't eat in the morning. The first thing I eat is on my lunch break at work, which is about 6 hours after I get up. And then I'm usually gone for the rest of the day. So I don't really want to take them with me to work or out of the house. I just would rather take them at home, and I don't usually get home until late at night. And you're supposed to take them with a meal. So, I usually just take them with the snack because I don't eat a large meal right before bed. So, but at least it's with food, which I interpret as being in the spirit of what they want you to do. So I'll take my multivitamin, and then, yeah, probably like, listen to some music or creepy pastas or ASMR or whatever, and podcast or something until I fall asleep. And then I get an extra hour's sleep tomorrow. I don't have to get up till 8:30. And then, yeah, go back to work. So yeah, so that's what's going on right now. So to fill in the blanks, in case you're confused by any of that I just, casually threw on you, assuming you'd know exactly what I meant. I live in Orlando, Florida. I have since a few days after the last one that I posted. I work at Universal. That's right, the Universal Orlando Resort, the theme park. That's the reason I moved to Orlando, is because I got a job offer there. I work at Islands of Adventure in the Jurassic Park section. I work in food and beverage. So that's my department for now, at least. I'll be eligible for a transfer starting May 1st. And I think I'm going to request a transfer at that point because I would like to be in a tipped position. So I'd like to be in a full-service restaurant as a server and or bartender. And I think every manager and everybody I work with and everything sees that, and probably half of them by this point have actually said out loud to me, Joshua, you should be in a tipped position. You should be in a full-service restaurant because you'd be great there. You'd clean up. You'd make like $500 a night, because like the restaurants there are expensive. I mean, that's no surprise, but you figure if you make a 20% tip on $100 bill, which is, what it would be for like 2 people or 3 people, 20% on $100 is $20. So if you make $20 per table plus your hourly rate, I mean, you're gonna be making like $400, $500, $600 a night. That's like what I make in an entire week right now. So that's a pretty big difference. It's a pretty big step up, and it's not really that. I mean, you're not really working that much harder. Because it's working hard. Don't get me wrong. Like, you're not slacking off or anything if you're working at Universal, but like what I'm doing now is pretty intense. It's pretty rigorous. And before you ask, it's $15 an hour. That's the starting rate. And you're not allowed to accept tips, even though the customers will try to tip you because, they're usually tourists or just rich people, and it's such an expensive park that, what's a little extra money to them, right? It's like it's rich people that go there. So I once had to tell someone no to a $50 bill when he just got like a $10, you just got like $10 of food, and he gives me this $50 bill, and he's like, this is for you. And it broke my heart to have to tell him no, because like I don't want to get fired over that, but like it's just baffling. Like, coming from working at Wendy's, where people will try to start a fight with you because their 4 for $4 costs $4.26, and you're trying to explain that the 26 cents is just a tax. So now people, the customers are like, all right, could I get 2 turkey legs? And I'm like, all right, that'll be $29. And they say, wait, you got both of them on there, right? It's like, what a complete 180, But yeah. So I'll probably request a transfer, but for now, at least until May, so a few more months. So again, you got a little ways to go. I'm probably about halfway through it. I'm working at quick service, food and beverage, Jurassic Park, Islands of Adventure. And it's pretty good, you know? I like it. I just think I can do better. I can like make more money and achieve more of my creative potential and, do all that um in another position, but that doesn't just because I say that doesn't mean that I'm like miserable where I am or anything, cuz it's good, it's good. Um I like working for Universal. I think they're a good company to work for. Um, it's good benefits. It's it's a massive corporation. They have a lot of little things that they do, for the team members. Little little bonuses, little surprises that they throw in here and there. Like for example, they have something called applause bucks, which is every time a guest puts in a good word for you at guest services or says something nice about you at guest services, they make a note of it and they send it to my team captain at my department. And then the team captain receives this note from the guest services and that the guest wanted to put in, and then they print it out and they come find me and they hand it to me and attach applause bucks. Actually, you know what? I have it right here. I had it up on the dash, but I had the windows open, so I had to put it down on the floor so it didn't blow out the window. This is what it looks like. I probably should not show the sensitive information, like my manager's name and the case number or whatever. But this is what an applause box looks like. So this is worth $6, I believe. And this is the summary of the guest comment. It's not the actual comment. I wish it was. But, you went above and beyond by great guest comment. So, putting two and two together there, I've gotten some applause bucks. And, just because of my enthusiasm and my customer service skills and all that, it was a seamless transition for that from me from working at Wendy's. But obviously at Universal, people are expecting it way more than they are at Wendy's, so I was just like in another dimension working at Wendy's. So now doing the same thing, I'm just like slightly above, the others, in terms of that. But, yeah, so that's cool. That's something they didn't do at my other job. I got my, certificate of appreciation, but that, like, it didn't come with money or a bonus or a raise or a promotion or anything. It was just like, yeah, here's a little, we'll print this 5-star review out for you and you can keep it. And that was it. But, yeah, so I'm starting to get some regular customers now here too, just like at Wendy's. I would have my regular customers. Now, because a lot of Orlando area locals are annual pass holders and go to Universal, on a regular basis, or just the tourists, people that come in from other parts of the country and other parts of the world. They come in for like a week or 2 weeks or something, and they go to the park 3-4 days in a row. And so, if I'm working those days, then they'll see me and they'll be like, hey, I was here yesterday, remember this or that, and, whatever. And so yeah, I have repeat customers now. Obviously, it's mostly new people each day. It's a very transient place, but, there's some repeat customers. So that's cool. I got some friends there. I like most of my coworkers. Most, not all. You know who you are. But yeah, most of them are pretty cool. Definitely a much higher percentage than at the Service Plaza, where I only liked about maybe 1 in 10 of my coworkers. Counting all the ones that, only worked there for like 3 days or something, like all the people that I worked with at some point, I only liked about 1 in 10. But yeah, so now I would say, well, I like over half of them. You know what? I'd say I like 2/3 of them. And then, most of the others I feel just kind of neutral about. There's only really like a handful that I dislike. um, but, there hasn't been any like issues or anything. I haven't snitched on anyone. Nobody snitched on me. Well, there was one time. So, one of my coworkers tried to have me written up, but it didn't work because the manager like saw what was going on and was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna write you up," but he tried. But so there was that one time. But other than that, it's been pretty cool. We did, we get along. Um, but yeah, so suffice to say, I'm much happier with this job than I was at my other one. Although there are a few things, even though, 9 out of 10 things are better, there's still like, for example, I kind of miss a little bit, as much as like I despise it overall, the unprofessionalism of the company at the Turnpike. Um, when it comes to like, making sure you get a break, or, making sure that you know your schedule, or, like making sure that you know what you're doing, or making sure you're informed of any policy changes, or, do like things like that. Like, as much as it was like so frustrating, or the double standards with my coworkers, or like how the rules are selectively enforced, or, just things like that. As many downsides to the unprofessionalism as there was, it also meant that I could get away with a lot more stuff. Like, if I wanted to take bags of food home with me at the end of the night, I didn't have to worry about getting fired. I didn't have to ask anybody. I could make myself a sandwich and then take it home. you know? Um, like, I went, they gave me a $13 allowance for my lunch break, and I went over it every single day that I worked there, and it was never a problem. I would get like $25 of food, and the manager would come over and swipe it, and, there we go. And, I would go overtime on my breaks sometimes, like longer than 30 minutes, meaning, or I would like clock back in, but then, sit back down and finish eating, or whatever. Or I would stay clocked in and then go to the bathroom or go get something to eat or whatever, like, and then just clock out at the very end. Or what I was late sometimes, not a lot, because I was going for that attendance bonus. They had a $200 attendance bonus if you were on time every day for a month, and I never got it. But I was on time most days. But I would be late occasionally, for a variety of factors. And I never once got written up. I never even got a written warning in the 10 months that I worked there, keeping in mind that this was my first job ever, and how hectic and crazy and chaotic and fast-paced it was and everything. I never got written up once. I never really got in serious trouble. I was told by the boss's boss's boss, whose name, I don't want to say his name, but started with an A, so we'll call him Mr. A. I was told by him that I was, quote, the best employee he's ever seen. Literally, unquote. So, yeah, but just because of, like, I could get away with a lot more in terms of, like, customer interaction. Like, I could just straight up roast the customers to their face, and, either they would think it was funny, or even if they didn't, like, they put up with it because it's like, it's Wendy's. What you know? What do you expect? Like, but I would always be playful about it. I was never mean spirited or anything. I would always be well intentioned, and they they would see that. I would I wouldn't just like bully people. It's not my style, you know. But like I could be a lot edgy. I could make like a lot edgier jokes, or a lot more like, yeah, edgier, I guess would be the word. And just like a lot more like, sort of like, ooh, oh, he said it, like whatever, like, stuff like that. And like with my coworkers, like we could goof off a lot more and stuff, and you know, and then like the wardrobe guidelines, like I almost never wore a hat the whole time I worked there, even though it's part of the uniform and you're supposed to. Only on like the days that we had like an inspection, or like an audit or something like that. Like then obviously everything's in ship shape. But also because they didn't have the AC worked maybe 1 in 4 days on average that I worked there. So when the AC didn't work, it literally, I'm not exaggerating, it got to 104 degrees on the thermostat in there. So, and also considering I was a minor when I started working there, I'm pretty sure that that's illegal. And also I was working overtime, 60 hours a week as a minor. That's definitely illegal in the state of Florida. They even told me that in my interview, that I wasn't allowed to work overtime until I was 18, and then all of a sudden like 2/3 of the employees just quit in the same like week, and they were like, can you work overtime? So but yeah, I mean, if the AC was working, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. But like, I'd figure like, okay, well that's unprofessional of them, so they can't expect me to be more professional than them. So I almost never wore a hat. And then you were required to wear a mask for the entire time that I worked there, from January to November of 2021. And I wore a mask for like the first couple months that I worked there, and then once I saw like a lot of my coworkers like would wear it below their nose or below their mouth or something, and be like, well, what's the point of wearing a mask if it's not over your nose and mouth? Like they'd wear it like under the chin or something, and I'd be like, I just don't get that. Like, why wear it at all? And so, whenever the manager would pass by, like, if you didn't have a mask at all, he'd be like, hey, put a mask on. But then if you're wearing it below your chin, they wouldn't say anything. And so I'd just be like, well, what's the difference? Then it just makes my chin itchy, like if it doesn't even have to be over my nose and mouth, like, so eventually I caught on to that, and exploited that loophole, because otherwise it would get so sweaty and itchy, and also have acne from all the like grease and sweat and stuff being trapped in my face. And it was just a lot looser all around. Like, say, like if nobody sees it, it didn't happen. Basically, was the policy. If something falls on the floor, or there's like cross contamination all over the gaff there. But yeah, so I guess I just ruined my chances of ever getting rehired there now. But yeah, so basically what I'm saying is that is one thing, is it was a lot less pressure. I didn't have anxiety about going into work every day, because I was like, this is the easiest thing ever, and obviously, even though it was easy, it got way, way more stressful than it needed to be, mostly just because of my coworkers and the unprofessionalism of the company, and them just saying like, oh, by the way, here's a 16-year-old who's just starting today, and it's Saturday, so it's going to be packed, and you got to show them how to do everything after we're already open. And and it's just you two today, and it's their first day. They don't know how to do anything. And so, like that kind of stuff is like, even though it's an easy job for me, it's still it makes it incredibly stressful, and then it's not fun anymore, and it's harder for me to be like whimsical with the customers and everything when I'm trying to say, okay, so this is how to disassemble the Frosty machine, this is where we get the meat from, this is how you cook the chicken nuggets and whatever, like while I'm trying to take the orders and then also make the food and then also get it to the customers. So like when I have to be like four people at once and stuff like that's not cool. That's just stressful. But on the days that I was actually working with, a reasonable number of people, like at least two other people, and like two other people that were as efficient as me, or like three other average people, you know, um, then it was fine. Uh, but yeah, but ultimately I just felt like it was just too chaotic, and it was too unprofessional, like it was just like mostly just a barrage of 16 and 17-year-olds working there that were, I mean, first of all, high schoolers and like that whole age of people are just so incredibly annoying to me. Just in a very, it's in an indescribable way, but it's very specific, that it's just like, it just really gets under my skin, and I just can't stand to be around them. Even though I'm not directly involved in their gossip or their, whatever they're talking about or doing or whatever, it still bothers me just being, within 100 feet of it. I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to be associated with that. And so I figured somewhere like Universal, they'd have more class to their employees. They wouldn't just hire anybody, because we had like some straight up drug dealers that worked there. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna say anyone by name, but I know who they were. We had like actual criminals working there, like people that like just got out of jail, or like whatever. So like, you know, I, yeah, I didn't I one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to get out of there was because of my coworkers, and how the average length of time that people worked there was like 2 weeks, and so it was just exhausting to constantly be introduced to, here's so and so, and you got to show them how to do everything, and then you got to build a rapport with them, and you have to pretend to care about, their drama or whatever, and like just so that they'll do their job, and everything. It's like, yeah, at Universal they don't do that. It's very professional, but it's also fun. And it's fun because it's professional, because you don't have this BS to worry about every day. It's like it's actually smooth, and you can enjoy yourself because it's like it's how a job is supposed to be, in my opinion. But, and obviously, that's not to say that it's 100% smooth, because there's going to be some BS at any job, and there definitely is here, but I'll definitely take it in a heartbeat over Wendy's, so I'll just say that. Um, wow, that was a long side tangent. All I talked about was work. That's only like one of the bullet points. Um, I just find that like the last like 3 or 4 episodes or whatever, like when I listen to them back, it's like I would go on and on about work. Like that's always something that would get me, always a topic that would get me riled up for some reason. I guess because, I don't know, trying to psychoanalyze it. I mean, I guess it's because that's like that's my time to shine, I guess. I guess I just see myself as like an actor, and when I'm at work, I'm like on stage, and because I'm in customer service, it's like I'm on stage, and I'm playing this role, and all that. And so it's something that's very significant to me. It's something that I take very seriously, very close to heart. because it's my outward expression to the general public, to the world. Like my life at home is one thing, or with friends or with family or this or that or whatever, but like when we're talking about public and then also my job, how like if I'm rude to a customer or something, or if I slip up and if I say the wrong thing, or if I uh am not, if I slack on the hygiene or sanitation or whatever, or if I like, if I do anything wrong, basically I could get fired. So there's that risk involved there that's just not present in other areas. So it kind of adds a level of intensity to it, when you think about the risks and about, how important it is and stuff. And then also that's really the only part of my life that's like concretely regimented, where it's like, okay, you're working this day from this time to this time, and it's like the only guaranteed thing of knowing that I will be at this place at this time. That's the only thing that's really guaranteed, is like only when I'm at work, because I go to the gym at different times each day. I sleep at different times each day. I'm home at different times each day. I go shopping different times each day. Like everything else is just kind of like, whenever I feel it's the right time, But work is one thing that's like, it supersedes all that. It's just like whenever I'm scheduled is when I'm working, So I don't know. It's a few reasons, I guess. But yeah. So work is always something that I'm passionate about, and I would say now more than ever, because of the magnitude of where I'm working. I'm working at Universal. I'm working front of house at Universal. That's a big deal. That's not something to take lightly. So I make sure I never take that for granted any day, because very few people can say that, so I'm grateful to have those bragging rights, to not say, oh, I'm a director of food and beverage for the Florida Department of Transportation. Oh, what does that mean? Yeah, I'm a cashier at Wendy's. Like I'm not like, you know what I mean? But that's where most people are. Most people never escape that. And they just work at minimum wage or in an unprofessional environment until they retire. And that's it. So I'm grateful that like I'm only 18 years old and I already have this much experience under my belt. Like I'm excited, where am I going to be when I'm 21, 25, 30, Like I might be the CEO of Universal Pictures at 27 or whatever at this rate. I'm moving at light speed, and that's exactly the way that I like it. I don't like stagnation. And when I saw that I was working at the Service Plaza for 10 months and there was no signs of me even being promoted to the next step up, a supervisor, which is only like a $2 raise, I was just like, man, I'm wasting my time here. I'm wasting my talent on these people, because being so exceptional, being told by Mr. A himself that I'm the best employee he's ever seen, wouldn't that be someone he wants to promote? And what's worse is that people around me were getting promoted. These workers that were, half as I mean, it's not, I don't mean to like sound competitive or anything, as saying, oh, I'm better than this one or that one or whatever, but like, just, like the people that wouldn't even try, the ones that didn't even care, they got promoted, and then they just gloss right over me. So I was just like, all right, well, I guess, and like I said, I had a talk with Mike, the guy, the general manager. I think I described all that in my last one, because that had already happened at that point. But wow, it's been almost an hour. It's almost midnight now. I gotta get up in 8 hours. And I still got some stuff to do before I go to bed. What else? Okay, no more about work. That's enough about work. Uh, I I don't know, I feel like if I need to force it, if I need to think about it, then it's just not time yet. If I need to think about what to say or what words to use or anything, then it's just not ready yet. So I'm sure there'll be times I'm gonna increase the frequency of my attempts to make these now that I sort of broke the ice, now that I cracked the dam and let this stuff, just this verbal sewage, that I just like let it burst through a little bit now. I'm sure the next one will come a lot easier because it'll be a lot less of a time. Hopefully it'll be like next week or something, you know. And yeah, actually, now that I think about it, there's a few of the attempts that I did went for like 15 or 20 minutes. They just didn't have like a proper ending or structure or anything. But I might upload those anyway, just for the heck of it. Um, but yeah. So yeah, I guess as far as talking about anything else, I mean, there's lots else I could talk about, but like I said, the words just aren't coming to me easily right now. So, I mean, everything up until this point kind of flowed, so I just went with it. I didn't filter it or inhibit it or block it or whatever. It's just whatever comes to, whatever comes out, you know? That's the artist's way, the writer's way. That's how I write music, and that's how I write poems and whatever. Is just like don't judge it, don't question it, just let it be. And don't try to force something. If you have an idea for a song or whatever, don't try to force the lyrics, because they'll come when the time's right. If you're truly, artistically minded and all that. So yeah, hopefully in a few more days or something, I'll be inspired to make another one. I'll get a chance to, I'll be able to, and I'll actually do it. And we'll talk about completely different stuff. And it'll be time for that. So, assuming that's what's going to happen, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, so I guess there's really nothing else to say then for this one. The well's dried up for now. So, anyway, yeah. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm sorry that there haven't been like any videos of any kind really since then. There's been things that I've recorded, but I just haven't uploaded just because, I don't know, I would watch them back and just be like, this is stupid or whatever. But like, I gotta remember that's kind of everything on my channel with only very few exceptions, so like, just put it out there, man. Just upload it, who cares if no one watches it? What do you got to lose? So there might be a barrage of uploads now of like back catalog stuff, but yeah, I'm sorry for not like being a YouTuber that's like, hey, every Tuesday and Friday at 7 o'clock, check out my new series. If you remember, I actually tried to start doing that like a year, maybe 2 years ago. We're like, okay, we're gonna have a new episode of the podcast every Friday at 10, and we're gonna have a new episode of Tales from the Fifth Dimension every Tuesday. But and that didn't go very far because that's not the way my mind is, you know? But yeah, I should probably end this before we get to the hour mark, so. thanks for sticking with me. More content to come soon. This is not the end. Have a good night.